What is the main theme of our story and why? What are some of the things that are soon developed?
I think one of the main things is don't judge a book by its cover, because everybody judges Augie by his face when he is occasionally very smart, and since he is reading those big books.
I agree with Gracie because you shouldn't, because he's smarter than he looks, but people think that he is like, he just doesn't look, he looks weird and he just doesn't look like the others, and so he just wants to fit in, but people won't let him.
I agree with both Gracie, because I think that not judging a book by its cover is a big part of it. Also, that one of the biggest parts of it is the characters and how they develop, because you're seeing how each character's story progresses through each character as the parts change.
Yeah, and they all kind of have like their own story to tell about all the different things that happen.
Right.
What is the main conflict of our story, and what are some other conflicts you see helping move our story forward?
I think Julian is a conflict because of his thoughts and what he thinks of Augie, and he is dragging Jack Will into it.
I agree with Elizabeth because Julian was just mean and selfish, and he was judging Augie because of how he looked from when he met him. And Jackal was acting nice, even though he said that the teachers probably purposely put him with August.
I agree with Tashayla and Elizabeth. I think that Julian is the main conflict because he always like instigates stuff with Augie, and like when he calls Augie that Star Wars guy's name, I can't remember, but it means like he got struck by lightning and his face is all melty and weird.
What about you, James? What do you think?
I agree with Gracie on that statement, and by the way, his name is Darth Sidious, but
Why do you agree with that?
just I don't think it's I think they're just mostly overreacting. I don't believe that his face could be so bad.
Do you agree? Anyone disagree?
I agree with him because Julian, he always goes straight away and he judges him by what he looks like due to a medical disorder.
Right.
Ethan, what do you think about it?
I agree with David because, like what Gracie said, you don't judge a book by its cover because you don't know his personality and how smart he is.
What do you think, Kyra?
I think that Julian shouldn't judge by how people look, and they should judge people about how they act.
I agree with Kyra, but on the back of the book it said, "I won't describe what I look like. Whatever you're thinking is probably worse."
I kind of disagree with Kyra because sometimes people act out something because of someone else. You're just trying to impress them.
I agree with Tashayla. I think you shouldn't judge people at all, even if they do act kind of funny, because some people just act weird, but really they're really nice on the inside.
I agree with Kyra and Gracie because you shouldn't like judge people by how they act or how they talk or how they look, because they might be a nice person and you just don't know that.
I agree with Gracie, Elizabeth, and Kyra because someone could look like someone you're not gonna like at all, but they could be like one of the nicest people you've ever met, and they could be really smart and funny.
I agree with Gracie, Elizabeth, and David because like people shouldn't be bullied by how they act and how their personality. Well, they should be judged about how nice they are.
So what is the importance of the perspective in our story?
I think it is feelings because Augie has many different feelings, and so does Via, and mostly because it like describes how they feel, and you can sometimes if you're reading and you're really deep into it, you can like feel what they're feeling.
Well, I agree with Gracie because it's mostly about Augie and what he's going through, and it gets deep into his life story almost.
As well, I agree with you, and it also explains some things about Via's perspective.
Yeah, like with the troubles that she's having, like with Miranda and.
Do you think Sheila?
I agree with Ethan, James, and Daniel because I think Via is still having a hard time because of Augie, and she's not getting the attention, even though Augie has his disability, and then her friends have changed. Brooke, what do you think?
I agree with Shayla, but I think Via kind of feels left out sometimes because Augie gets all the attention because of his medical conditions.
Very good. Okay, I have to admit, this is one of the best first Socratic discussions we've ever had. Awesome job, you guys. Seriously. So let's stop for just a minute and have the outside who was observing evaluate. What are some really, wait a minute, stop, stay right wherever you are. I want you to evaluate, what were some good things you saw going on in the middle? Yeah, go ahead.
I liked how they tried to tie everyone into it, and they just didn't let anyone sit back and relax and just listen.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I agree with Madison because they just invited everyone, and everyone got a chance to share what they thought about the topic.
Yeah, good. Kelly.
I like that they let people that weren't talking, they invited them in a kind way.
Yeah, very good. Lance.
I like it that nobody like tried to talk over somebody.
Yeah. That's great.
I like how there was like no person that took over and talked like 25 times and
Yeah. Philip.
I like how everybody was listening to what the speaker had to say.
All right, Tyler.
I like how they're all tying in and kind of agreeing with everybody else.
Yeah, they really connected. That's so important in these discussions because that's how we build that collective understanding where we're all going, wow, I understand so much more. Else?
I like it how when they didn't agree with someone, they didn't get like mean to them.
Yeah, very good. Okay, we've got so many good things, but we want to give everybody else a chance in just a second. What might they need to improve? Eddie?
Kind of not figuring out who talks, but
Someone needs to step up, right?
Yes.
Okay, what else? Could you hear anyone?
Kind of.
Okay, so volume could still be a little bit better.
Also, you might need to figure out what they're going to say ahead of time.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And that's, what does that mean, what you were saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say some people need to be more prepared.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay, so switch very quickly and quietly, please.
Why don't you just leave those? Why don't you just leave those one? Because we have our own.
Leave your stuff in the back if you can.
I'm totally. Can I talk like this? I'm sitting here because I was joking, by the way. I want this video to get 10,000 views. No, and 10,000. Wait. No, we have 9,000. A million. Wait, don't forget the subscribe.
Yeah, I can see myself.
What do you guys think of the main theme of our story?
I think it's that you shouldn't judge anybody by the way they look, and that it doesn't matter how somebody looks. You should try and contact with them and not just like immediately judge them by the way they look.
I agree with Lance because if people think, well, they look weird, they aren't gonna be nice, so I just don't want to be around them. Well, that's not really very nice because people can be nicer than what they look.
I agree with Allie and kind of disagree at the same time, but the way that she said it was like that. I understand that she's that he's trying to make friends, but then sometimes other people are being incredibly rude, and you're not supposed to. Remember the saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover." Well, like that's kind of don't judge a boy by its face. And so when you judge someone, then they don't, I guess, understand actual faith.
I agree with Madison because if that was happening to you, then what would it? Because if you're bullying someone just because of their face or something like that, you don't know how it would be. You don't know how it would feel to be on the other side of that bullying situation.
I agree with Jane because it never matters about how the person looks, just about how they act. Yes, what do you think?
I agree with Lance and Maddie because, like, just by thinking about don't judge a book by its cover, it's just like Augie not to judge a book by its face. I agree with Lance and Maddie and also Allie was here with me. Because I just like know why people just don't accept him for who he is, but I just feel like people should, even though he's like different from everybody else, they should just like accept him for who he is and not judge him.
What do you think, Ty?
Well, I agree because no one should be treated by just how they look or how they act. They should be treated like anybody else.
I agree with Ty, but I would also like to add that you can't take everything too personally because if you do that, that's just going to bring you down all the way through school.
Alex, what do you think?
I disagree with the person that said, or I do agree with the person that said, I don't remember. So,
Philip, what do you think?
I think that people shouldn't judge Augie on how he looks just because it's a disorder, and people should treat him how he would like to be treated, and he will treat them like he wants to be treated. And they should be kind and be his friends.
I agree with Philip because once they get to know Augie, or once they get to know someone better, they might not think the nasty thoughts that they had in their mind when they first saw him.
I agree with Hallie because it'd be like the more you get to know somebody, it'd be like you don't even notice anything wrong with them at all. What's the main conflict of the story? Or what do you guys think the main conflict of the story is?
I think Julian is the conflict of the story, just because all the main things he said and how he's tried to hide like his bullying by saying, "Do you like Darcidius?" And because Darcidius' face is all messed up.
I agree with Jaden because about the chapter about the questions, he doesn't know that he's there, but he's still saying the mean things about him.
I agree with Drayden too because Julian said, "Did your face get in fire or something?"
I feel like they were all playing nice when they were on that tour. I mean, Charlotte was kind of trying to be open a little bit, but then Jack Will comes later on in the story and says he was just playing friends. He wasn't actually being friends.
I agree with Maddie because Julian, he plays all sweet to adults, but when it comes time to being alone with Augie, he just starts being the kind of person he really is.
I agree because he's up to a teacher and it sounds all nice, but then if you really think about it, it's the other way around and it's mean. It's not
I
a
think
good thing.
I think that Julian should stop hiding his bullying and start being nice to him. And he's bullying him when teachers don't know about it, and he's being nice in front of teachers, but not nice to other kids.
I agree with Maddie a lot because, he was all nice around the principal and his mom, and now, that Augie started school, he's on leave. I agree with Curtis because, now, Augie knows that Jack Will kind of talks behind his back, even, talks to Julian and talks to all his friends, and he's trying his hardest to not show that he doesn't really, that he was not forced, but I'm guessing the principal probably told him to be nice to Augie because he probably knew that Augie would make friends very easily.
I'm gonna stop right there because of time. Did you guys get to the last question?
No, that's what I was just gonna move on to.
Yes, and that's okay. You guys were able to go deeper in that second discussion than the first discussion. One, because it's a different group of kids with different ideas, but another thing is that the second group usually is able to go deeper because they've heard other ideas that prompted more ideas for them. And that's the great thing about discussions like this. Outside circle, what were some great things that happened on this inside circle? Gracie?
Mostly everybody
Okay, good. David?
Everyone was included. Everyone got to talk about at least one thing.
Yeah, great. Alyssa?
It's good that they were all included.
Okay, good.
But they started off like another one.
Yeah, they did. Somebody took charge and no one dominated, which was good. And could you hear everyone? Okay, you guys did such a good job. And there was a time at the very beginning where I was thinking, oh, we're not using very much textual evidence. And then all of a sudden, boom, you started using it. And that's when you can really back up and support your opinions with evidence. That's when it really gets to be a good conversation. So great job. Yes.
I feel like there's one thing we could work on for the next one we do is have everyone talk a little bit more.
Yes. How do you do that?
Invite them or
Say, can you elaborate on that? What in the text made you think that? Yeah, very good. Awesome. Because of the time, I so hate to not get to your questions or your comments, but because of time, we have to get going. So what I want you to do, turn to your scoring rubric and put a star next to all the skills you feel you actually did today.
This video's getting 10 million
And make
views.
sure your name is on both that scoring paper and your prep sheet, and lay them on my desk before you leave.
This video's getting 10 million views because I'm in it.
Don't forget to subscribe.